that by the end of that very short presentation, that they knew their attachment style. So I said, hey, I like people I like to have happy customers. I'm available, let's do it again. And this time we'll work on the technical issues. So I apologize for that, for the technical issues we had. I was using MTN last time, so now I'm using Airtel. I hope it's going to be comparatively smoother. We've also worked on the videos with Paul. So by show of hands, how many people here did not attend last time? I hope you all know that down on the bottom of your screen, there's reactions, a little smiley face with a plus sign, which you can use to put up a hand. Okay, I see one person, Moses, Wandeba. Okay, so everybody else was here last time. Okay, that's very helpful. Oh, two people, and Serena. All right, so by show of hands, how many did their attachment style quiz? You took that quiz that I sent through to the fellowship, and you know your attachment style. Okay, Rita took it, Victor took it, Julianne. Okay, I only have 3 people. All right, I was expecting to have a lot more. Thank you for saying. All right, so this is just gauging where to start. So most of you, okay, there's a 4th person that took it. Sort of gauging where to start. When you know your attachment style, you know, the conversation starts at a different place. But we'll see how to manage, seeing that we have some people who are hearing for the first time, but also people who haven't taken the quiz. All right, so I want to tap into your latent knowledge that you already have. Okay, a 4th person, Rebecca, I see your hand. What do you think of when you hear the word attachment style? And you can all start to just type in the chat. I think everybody has something that comes to mind. I asked a group of people recently, and somebody said, I think of documents, because every time you're sending I think of email, because when people are sending emails, they talk about attachment. And I thought that was brilliant. He just said what came to his mind. So yeah, it's a funny one. What comes to your mind when you hear attachment style? What things are coming to your mind? Rebecca, if you could kindly help me again and read. You did such an awesome job last time. I'll appreciate.
Liz, what comes to your mind? Happy saves time on people. And what comes to your mind?
This was thinking of email as well. It sounds like.
Okay, pen drill, please, gluing on people. Thank you, Hosanna. Do we have any other thoughts? Anybody else? Cora, you're welcome. We are mentioning what comes to mind when we hear attachment style. First thing, for some people, it's email, find attach. Some it's tying on people. Elijah, what comes to mind? Joel, Lillian. Cora is saying, stalking your friends. No, that's prudent. Stalking your friends. Cora, the question is, what's the person that comes to your mind? Nothing technical, nothing intense. What comes to your mind when you hear attachment? Yes, Cora is saying your speaking style. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you everybody for thoughts. I'm wondering if anybody thought of positive, because it sounded like spying on people has a negative connotation, gluing has a negative connotation, stalking. How do you think of each other among others? Okay, there's another one. That one, how close you
How
are to
you
each
are,
other.
yeah. How you connect,
Okay.
the way in which a person feels and react toward the opposite party. Yeah, how you connect.
Right. Yes. Okay. Yeah. You are all actually within, apart from the documents, the emails. And I didn't understand tendrils. I don't know if that is a coded language for your fellowship. Is tendrils a word you relate to?
Tendrils is a Natasha word.
No, what
Aha.
I meant was how how plants use tendrils for support. Like if it's an attachment style of you are attaching because you need support, like how you reach out for support systems, and okay, if support is a premise on which you attach to people.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it, love it, love it. Yeah. Attachment styles and attachment is really about that. How we have invisible bonds that connect us to other people. And remember, human beings are bonding beings. We cannot survive on our own. We bond with others. That's just the design. So is about how everybody you see other people. So my other question is, why is it important? Why are we wasting time here? Okay, why are we spending? Let me not put a negative spin to it. Why are we spending time here? How critical is this topic to us? What does it matter? Please, again, put in the chat and there's some funny ones that came in. If it's positive, it's positive. If I tie on someone, they also tie on me, I guess. How your mind and past lets you perceive, that's connecting with others. It's what, okay. All right, so yeah, why is this important? Please, everybody, I'm hoping that as many people you're typing in there. Why should we even spend an evening talking about attachment, 2 evenings? Does it matter, really? You've lived this long without, Joshua, the question is, why is this topic, attachment styles, important? Butosha, go ahead. Butosha, you're muted. Your hand is up, but you're muted.
Okay, it's important to me particularly because I feel like knowing my attachment style will help me know my detachment style. And also to understand the reasons why I attach to certain people more than I attach to a certain category of people. I think it's relevant so that I can also plan attachment in as far as it's possible. Like, can I schedule or can I appropriate my attachment system depending on who I am, or understand or use it to understand someone else's attachment style and appropriate maybe a communication or relationship system thing to match it and make it maybe easier or more relatable or understandable. Yes, that's why it's relevant to me.
All right. I feel like asking you, and then you do what? What is the end goal for all the appropriating and the planning? But thank you, Butosha. I don't know if you want to add on. What's your end goal? Maybe in a sentence, just one sentence.
To basically be a better relator, or like a better friend, better person, or or to even understand myself better.
And a relationship.
To diagnose myself in my friendships.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Joshua, you've had your hand up for a while. What about you? Why is this topic important to Joshua?
Okay, thank you. I think this topic, in relation to the fact that you are talking to pre-married, is important because one, it will guide us in knowing how and evaluating, consequently coming to a conclusion of what, how as a person you attach yourself and with what is your engage. How do you know that you have attached, or there's an attachment you have with this person? Because and is it different on individual grounds, or on individuals, or every person is the same? And how to react, how to how is it also Christian, have an attachment style as the pre-married, as a married, or as those dating, and how to control it? Yeah, basically that's what I'm saying. Maybe even what are the repercussions? Then, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. There's to be aware of why we. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and read them, Rebecca?
Somebody said we don't live in a vacuum. I guess that's their reason. And then some Cora says we were created for relationships. So how we navigate those, make or break them. Then Victor said to be aware of why we behave the way we do around people and correct it if necessary. Liz says to be more self-aware and learn how to best relate with others. And Rita says because it can expose childhood traumas and how they affect our current relationships. Then Elijah says it's important because he gets to see why he relates with others the way he does, and his weaknesses and strengths in doing so. Then Liz says to know why her neighbor, they are always falls for bad boys. I feel like she's speaking for a friend, but yeah, that is what we have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the active participation. So I'm just going to jump into the slides now. Sorry, I see a hand up, but in interest of time, just going to go on. So, all right, I hope you can all see my screen this time. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yes.
I can.
Read. Hey.
Is it clear?
No.
Yes,
I think it's clear from my end. Attachment styles, that's what I can see. Yeah.
Why you relate the way you do by Pendo Galukande. So this, if it isn't clear, does anybody have, I sent the file to Liz. I don't know, we can have a plan B person to share. And once again, the slides are not moving. I'm going to change the sharing. Let's just do it without videos.
Yes.
Okay,
That's
yeah, all right. Can you see now?
it's way better.
No,
Is
that's
it?
way better, way
Yes,
better now.
we can see and it's clear.
Oh, okay, that's great. I think I just removed the video option, so much clearer. That's great. All right, I'm waiting for it to change, though it's taking forever for the slides to move. Wow. Liz, you have these slides, yeah? Because I sent them. Hello? Hello?
Liz left the group. I think she's having technical difficulties, but she'll get back on, I think.
Because I'm just thinking, Paul, maybe put your email address in the chat group, and because it's taking so long for my next slide to show.
Okay, I'm doing that right now.
And I'm thinking I can just email. Okay, got you. My apologies, people. This doesn't happen for some reason. When it comes to attachment styles and attachment. I am facing difficulties. So many things open. So are you all seeing my, you're all seeing my computer as it is, right?
I think it's mine which I've shared.
Is it yours that's sharing?
It's mine.
Okay. So many. Okay, I'm
You sent the
about
email?
to
Okay.
see you. Just give it a second.
All right.
Should be your side. All right, I've sent it.
Okay.
It's moving. It's like as soon as it unburdened, it decided to move. All right,
Okay.
for now, I have it. So yeah, we've already had attachment styles is about how you relate. I asked my husband this morning, you know, you've been around me for all this time, you've heard about attachment styles. Why is this important? He said one thing that I thought was absolutely brilliant. He said, in order to be able to predict behavior, period. And I was like, oh man, you are still so brilliant all these years after I married you. So anyways, let's get into definitions. I need to move these things away. Yeah, relationships. Can you all hear and see?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Relationships. This is just a pattern of behavior between two or more people. It's about when you have two people, there's a way of being. That way of being is what we call a relationship. And for me these days, I also look at the pattern of behavior a person has with themselves, that we have a way of being with ourselves, and it's also very, very critical. So attachment style is is especially how you are around intimate relationships. Just that's it. I'm trying to really simplify and not use any textbook language. Alrighty, now it's gone back to to taking its time to turn. Do I have to close windows? I don't know what I am doing wrong to make this.
Let me also share as you go on.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought we were now good. So does that mean I'm not sharing anymore? So we've already discussed this. Why do you relate the way that you do? I feel like there's a mystery around love. It can be so mysterious. Like Liz said, why does my person keep dating bad boys? Why can't she be attracted to good boys? Why is she repulsed by good boys and attracted to bad boys? Can you all see this slide that I'm reading? Okay. When I listen to love songs, there you hear questions like, why does love hurt so much? I think it was James Ingram who sang, why can't we figure out what we keep doing wrong? But you wouldn't know that, huh? Deliverance Church Pre-Marriage Fellowship wouldn't know the song by James Ingram, right? Right, Becky?
And we are rich in the nation, so there's more people than Deliverance Church, so yeah.
Okay. Why did I not see? Yeah, why did I not see the red flags? Why am I unlucky in love? Why do I marry the wrong people? Why do people, I've had, people that, like parents, why is it such a big deal? Why is my child depressed over this thing? Why are women clingy and jealous? Why are men seemingly feelingless and aloof? What is going on? And this whole area was unknown years ago. 1957, 58 is when really clarity started to be had. And I'll just go over this very quickly because we covered it last time. So this guy, John Bowlby, is the one who came up with it, and he just, because of a childhood experience, and you're going to watch a little video about it, he really felt that he was very attached to his nanny. And when she left, he felt sad. And he started, when he became an adult and he was a doctor and he became a psychotherapist after that, doctor who studied psychology, he felt like children were pre-programmed to bond. And that bond that children form with other people is to get comfort, care, and pleasure. And that bond is about seeking closeness, seeking proximity. I want to be in the geographical vicinity of my loved one. There's something about proximity seeking. And that this person is my base that I use to explore. But also, while I'm exploring, if something bad happens, this is the person I call. This is my safe haven. This is my 911. This is my rescue, team. And when we are separated, that the child is always going to experience some sort of distress. And also that we bond because of survival, that there's something to do with survival. Like, this is a critical thing. I feel that, like, these days I want to add that just like we say living things need light, oxygen, air, warmth, and those types of things, I feel like for humans, they should add love. It's not a luxury to have. It's such a critical thing. And when you've not had it, you change in ways that can be traced, predicted, and understood. I don't need to have met the person to tell you that this is how they will be when they haven't received love. So just like, I don't know if you guys remember biology in primary school, when you'd have plants that haven't had sunlight, do you remember what color they would turn? You can put in. That is hilarious. Is James Ingram part of your song? Love it, love it. Guys, do you remember that? What would happen to the plants that were not given sunlight? How would they look differently? Just type in the chat or unmute yourself and say, exactly. They would go yellowy. Exactly. So now with humans, you can see we kind of wilt, something we change in very characteristic ways when we haven't received this love. All right, now, come on now. It's it's like if I open the chat box or anything, then moving the slides starts taking a bit of time. Let's give it time. Okay, so after John Bowlby came up with that theory, Mary Ainsworth was like, okay, I'll take this a step further. And her husband was posted here. I can't remember whether he was a medical doctor, and she was a social researcher. And so she was here at Mulago, and I think Kerry Institute of Social Research, if you would believe it. And she starts carrying out this experiment called the strange situation, where they take a child that's 18 months or well, around 18 months, because they can't be an infant. They have to be a child that can crawl at least. And they put them with a stranger, then they put them with the mother, then they separate them, and different iterations really. But at some point, the child is separated from the mother. All children of all kinds in the world, when this experiment is done, all of them show distress when the mother goes away. But when they are reunited with their mothers, there are only 4 ways of reuniting. There's the secure, who they go to the mother and they are quickly consoled, and soon they go back to playing happily. Then there's the anxious one or ambivalent. They go to the mother, they are not consolable, they're inconsolable. They stay pent up, they're angry. If you give them toys, they throw them away. That's the tendency for anxious or ambivalent types. Then there are those who, they behave like they didn't miss you. While you're away, they missed you. But when you show up, they behave as if they didn't miss you. and they might hide under the table, they might turn their back to the mother, and that's called the avoidant attachment. And then later on, they discovered this other type that was neither here nor there. They are as if they're coming towards the mother, and they're flopping down, and they're reaching out, and they're turning the back, and it wasn't clear. And those were called the disordered type. It was confusing for the researchers, and disordered or disorganized attachment. Now, Paul, this is where I stop sharing, and I'm going to let you share the first video of the strange situation.
Elements of home life be translated into a standard laboratory setting for controlled scientific study.
Paul, are you sharing yet? Hello.
I was sharing,
anybody hear
but I'd
me?
forgotten to share with the sound. So let me reshare. Okay.
So this is just video.
After conducting extensive observations of parents and children at home, a student of Bowlby's, Mary. But can the essential elements of home life be translated into a standard laboratory setting for controlled scientific study?
Pendo.
Yes.
Can you, you can switch screens from your screen to my screen under the views there.
The view option.
Okay, let me just probably make one person share at a time. So I'm going to switch you off.
Okay, now
right.
I can see.
Now you can see it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
After conducting extensive observations of parents and children at home, a student of Bowlby's, Mary Ainsworth, devised such a procedure called the strange situation, which places the child under some stress. It has become the most widely used standardized way to assess the quality of a child's attachment to their caregiver. Here the researchers are recording how 14-month-old Lisa responds in this attractive but unfamiliar setting. How will she react to a stranger? What will happen when her mother leaves the room? And when she returns? It's Lisa's behavior when her mother returns, what psychologists call the reunion, that they are particularly interested in.
Most importantly is to look for the type of balance that a child strikes between an attachment need and, on the other hand, to explore the play material.
Once Lisa has settled down to play, a stranger enters the room and sits in the chair reading a magazine.
Lisa, where's the bow? Where's the bow?
After a couple of minutes, the stranger attempts to interact with Lisa. Soon after, Lisbeth gets a cue to leave the room. The stranger tries to comfort Lisa, but in vain. Lisbeth comes back into the room and the camera records how Lisa reacts. Now the first part of the procedure is over, and Lisbeth settles Lisa down again. The stranger leaves them alone together. And soon after, Lisbeth goes too. Lisa is on her own. Her distress is plain to see. Once again, the efforts of the stranger to console Lisa are to no avail. But Lisbeth manages to calm her almost at once, and shortly afterwards the observation ends. Lisa showed outward signs of what's called secure attachment.
Okay, class, who would like to do problem 3 on the board? Please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Sorry.
My brothers and sisters. When I say the word sacrifice, what comes?
In 1969, American psychologist Mary Ainsworth gave developmental psychology a new procedure for study.
Paul, you can show the second. Paul, you can stop this one, please. Please, what's in your mind? Just write in the chat group before Paul, as Paul prepares to put the second video. Paul, I want you to pause that, please. Just pause it for a second. Yeah. I want us to just go over them. What is coming to your minds as you guys watched the strange situation? Someone was ready to do problem 3 on the board. This says not because we hadn't done problem 3. What did you guys think as you watched the strange situation where the child was separated from the mother cried, child with a stranger fails to console, and then the child is reunited with the mother? Hello, I am not getting, is anyone writing in the chat? Butosha, go ahead.
What I got was like even if like a similar alternative is given to the child, but like the same care or affection by a different person, it's the child knows who exactly has attached that love and affection to a particular someone. So it's not easy for them to suddenly forget who the other person is because they have received the same treatment.
Well done, well done. Excellent, Butosha, thank you for that. I see in the chat, Birungi attachment styles seem to have some genetics involved, not necessarily environmental affected. Infant at 18 months doesn't know anything else. Okay, that was, yeah, you're surprised that it's come so naturally to an 18-month-old. They haven't even gone to class to be taught attachment styles. So yeah, we shouldn't, we already have these things innate. Rebecca says, thought, that's like the real that's like the experience of every child in real life when moms have to go back to work. Yes, that we all have gone through the distress of a mother going away, and we know how that feels. And for some people, maybe they're raised by a father or a father going away, or your primary attachment figure. Lisa Tim says, I thought someone with secure attachment is easily consoled by anyone, not just mom. Aha, there you go. Yeah, with children especially, and even in adult romantic relationships, it's the attachment is a very specific relationship. It isn't the same relationship as everybody else. Some of us are very resilient when it comes to our neighbors. If your neighbor lets you down, you're okay. But if your loved one doesn't, respond to your SMS within 12 hours or 4 hours or 5, it hurts differently. It hits differently. So thank you for that observation, Liz. Victor is saying removal of the safe place triggers a reaction. Yes, yes, yes. This baby doesn't easily let other people into her life. Yeah. Cora felt like the normal reaction of a child in that situation. Also, the time limit the stranger had to establish the bond was short compared to the mother in general. I believe if more time was given, the child would have adjusted. Then the reattachment to mother would have been less secure. Okay, that's what you think. But it's, I think, to simbe wakati, really. And let me not get into that, but wonderful observations. Thank you so much. So now we're going to watch what the attachment styles look like in adulthood. So Paul, please go ahead and play the video.
Our deepest longing is to have stable, satisfying relationships, but the painful fact is that very large numbers of relationships have one painful episode after another, or seemingly intractable, miserable conflicts running through them. It's one of the biggest questions there is. Why is it so hard to be happy in love? The huge and not yet fully digested insight of psychoanalysis is that the challenges of relationships always start when we were children. It was the contribution of a great English psychoanalyst called John Bowlby to trace the tensions and conflicts we have with our partners back to our earliest experiences of maternal care. His ideas are sound in part because he drew so deeply and honestly on his own experiences in order to formulate them. Born in 1907, Bowlby had a quintessentially upper-class British childhood. Young Bowlby hardly saw his parents and was looked after by a nanny who was let go when he was just 4, leaving young Bowlby bereft. At 7, he was sent off, in line with the conventions of his class, to boarding school. He hated it and later declared, "I wouldn't send a dog away to boarding school at the age of 7. Bowlby became a brilliant medical student and an imaginative researcher. When he was a consultant to the World Health Organization in the early 1950s, Bowlby wrote a report, Maternal Care and Mental Health. He attacked prevalent assumptions and argued that kindness doesn't smother and spoil children. It's as if maternal care were as necessary for the proper development of personality as vitamin D for the proper development of bones, he wrote. This insight initiated a wave of reform. The visitation rules of many health institutions were reformed to allow parents to stay with their children, where they had once been allowed only to visit and never touch. It sounds like a dry, bureaucratic move, but it ended countless afternoons of quiet sorrow and evenings of solitary anguish. In a book published in 1959 called Separation Anxiety, Bowlby looks at what happens when there isn't enough of this kind of parental care. He described the behavior of children he'd observed who'd been separated from their parents. If the child is separated for too long, they still crave the attention, love and interest of the parents, but feel that anything good may disappear at any moment. They look for a lot of reassurance and get upset if it's not forthcoming. They become volatile, they take heart and then they despair, and then they're filled with hope again. This is the pattern of what Bowlby called anxious attachment. But the degree of separation from the parents may lead to another sort of problem. The child could feel so helpless, they become what Bowlby called detached. They enter their own world to protect themselves and become remote and cold. They experience what Bowlby calls avoidant attachment. That is, they see tenderness, closeness, emotional investment as always dangerous and to be shunned. They may in truth be desperate for a cuddle or for reassurance, but such things look far too treacherous. the focus of Bowlby's thinking was about what happens to a child if there are too many difficulties in forming secure attachments. But the consequences don't magically get restricted only to the age of 8 or 12 or 17. They're lifelong. Our attachment style is fed by our earliest experiences. It's a pre-existing script that gets written into our adult relationships, usually without us even realizing that this has happened. In line with Bowlby's views about how children relate to their parents, there are 3 basic kinds of attachment we can have to other adults. Firstly, secure attachment. This is the rare ideal. When you're securely attached, if there's a problem, you'll work it out. You're not appalled by the weakness of your partner. If your partner's a bit down, confused, or being a bit annoying, you don't react too wildly, because even if they can't be nice to you, you can take care of yourself and have hopefully a little time left over to meet some of the needs of your partner. You give the other the benefit of the doubt when interpreting behavior. You realize that maybe they had a tricky time at work. That's why they're not so interested in your day. The explanations are accommodating, generous, and usually more accurate. But there's another kind of attachment, anxious attachment, and this is marked by clinginess, texting and calling all the time just to check where the other is and keep tabs on what they're up to. You need to make sure the other person hasn't left you or the country. Anxiously attached people become coercive and demanding and focus on their own needs, not their partner's. Anxious attachment involves a lot of anger because the stakes feel so high. A minor slight, a hasty word, a tiny oversight can look to the anxiously attached person like huge threats. They seem to announce the imminent breakup of the whole relationship. One feels the reason you don't tell me that the minestrone soup I made is delicious is that you don't love me and are planning to leave me, when the true explanation may simply be that one's partner is mulling over a very tricky bit of news about a contract at work. Avoidant attachment means that you would rather withdraw and go away than compromise, get angry, or even just get close to another person. If there's a problem, you don't talk. Your instinct is to say you don't need the other person, especially if you're lonely. Avoidant spouses often team up with anxious ones. It's a risky combination. The avoidant one doesn't give the anxious one much support, and the anxious one is always invading the delicate privacy of the avoidant one. Bowlby helps us to feel more generous and more constructive about what these partners are doing when they upset or disappoint us. Almost no one in truth is purely anxious or purely avoidant. We're just a bit like that some of the time. So, alerted by Bowlby, we can see that a partner's apparent coldness and indifference is not caused by their loathing of us, but by the fact that a long time ago they were probably rather badly hurt by intimacy. And it opens possibilities of self-knowledge which can help one reform, if only a little, one's own rather eccentric behavior.
Thank you so much, Paul. Yeah, I hope we can do this research one day. And yeah, so I saw some people posted in there in the chat group, and that was, you can be secure, but also spice it up with a little drama once in a while with some small anxiety. Okay, this is a good place, Cora, like you're saying. What results did we get, my friend? Which styles allows for openness and honesty? So those who did the attachment styles, and maybe even those who are just hearing about attachment styles for the first time, please type in the chat there, what attachment style are you after hearing about the anxious and after hearing about the anxious, the avoidant, the disorganized attachment, and the secure, which attachment style are you? Rebecca, feel free to read, please.
Okay, we don't have responses yet. Mine was anxious, preoccupied, though it's not getting through those combos. Victor is saying apparently avoidant. Princess is saying secure. Birunji is saying avoidant. Let's hear from the others. Liz, what was yours? Unique, anxious, Marianne, secure.
Just seeking clarity, mine was a secure attachment, but it was also mentioned that sometimes I gravitate towards anxious avoidance. So I was wondering, were my answers on the fence? What was that about?
So your results came out as a profile before. Was your result a profile where they gave you a percentage in each one?
I think I didn't see that. I just read the email that said secure attachment, but sometimes I gravitate towards anxious avoidance.
Yeah, just like they said in the video that no one is 100% secure. Normally, we have some degree of insecurity. Every human being that is, on this side of heaven really has some insecurity. And yeah, you may find that I'm secure tends to act more like an avoidant. I'll have some avoidant in me, or I'll have some anxious in me. So thanks for sharing that.
Nathan is saying he's missing avoidant, and there's a comment from Cora. She says that test gave her secure, but the way she's feeling insecure about that result, I think she's not trusting the result. And somebody else is saying avoidance and dismissive avoidance. Yeah, those are the ones in the chat.
Right. Yeah. This quiz that I gave you is not, what can I say? Yeah, there's some room for it not being completely accurate, but I think two things that I find. Sometimes avoidance come out as secure, like I'll have maybe a couple, maybe a friend, a couple that are friends of mine, and I can see clearly the one party is like, really the way they are suffering in the relationship is that the other one is creating distance, they withdraw, they don't speak. And when that person who's withdrawing and not speaking does the quiz, they come out as secure. So I've had that where a lot of avoidance come out as secure, but it is because of the way they answer the relationship and how they out of touch. Avoidance can be with their emotions, that they see themselves as, oh, I'm secure, and yet actually they're avoidant. I rarely have an anxious person taking the test and coming out as secure. And then for others, you are secure indeed, but you have maybe you're in a particular relationship that is bringing out your insecure sides or something like that, or your secondary, side, which is, the other insecure things are bubbling up for some reason. So I'm going to have to speed up because I see our 1 hour is gone and I need to move on to what can we do, So in childhood, secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized, that's how we call it the attachment styles. In adulthood, we change how we call them. The secure remains secure, but the anxious becomes anxious preoccupied. Anxious preoccupied spend a great deal of time thinking about love, thinking about their love interest. It's almost obsessive. So when people said stalking, tying, gluing, you're kind of starting to bring out that quality of preoccupation. Then the avoidant is called dismissive avoidant, or DA, and this is mostly because they dismiss their own emotional experience and other people's emotional experience. And they're like, emotions? What's that for? They just don't value that side of life very much. and they suppress it and all that. So that dismissiveness becomes a huge characteristic. And then I didn't hear anyone saying that they're fearful avoidant. In my experience, I find that there are quite a few anxious people that will be, if you look closely, they're more of a fearful avoidant than an anxious one. And this is, and sometimes you may find an avoidant that is actually a fearful avoidant. So the fearful avoidants mostly have a fear for closeness and a fear to be hurt, and have a huge pattern of hot and cold, very volatile people. So when you're around them, you really feel the volatility of the relationship. When you're in a relationship with a fearful avoidant, you just will face the turmoil. So if you're in a relationship and there's turmoil, likely you're with a fearful avoidant. If your relationship and your partner is very angry and coercive and demanding, most likely you're relating with an anxious preoccupied. If the person is not talking, doesn't show you love, whatever, that's most likely you are with a withdrawn, with a dismissive avoidant. So we've already done this. Now, I added one slide that I didn't send you guys. And the main thing that has been found to correlate with the attachment style is one thing: maternal sensitivity. How accurately did your mother or the person that parented you interpret and respond to you as an infant? This has become the single biggest thing that has been found to correlate with attachment style. That those parents who are accurately understand, there's understanding that a child is unhappy. I've shared this before with some people. I don't know, I hope I've not mentioned it here before, that on a birthday, a child can be unhappy on their birthday. And the mother says, "Oh, be happy, all your friends are here." That is dismissing the child's experience and dismissing their emotions. It's that mother has noticed that the child is unhappy, but has not accurately gone into the child's experience and helped them. So it's better to make a sad face. "Oh, you're sad. What's going on for you?" You get down to the child's, "My new toy has been broken by so and so. Oh, come here," and you hug and comfort the child, and then you can go on to tell them, when they're comforted, usually they will be the first ones to actually go back. You don't need to tell them how to feel. So most of us growing up in our African setting, and even other countries, we are kind of told, don't feel like this, feel like that. And that's a lack of sensitivity. So it's thought to be the main precursor of attachment security. So when you have repeated sensitive positive interactions with the primary caregiver, it gives you a good internal organizing system. Internally, you develop a subconscious mind of, this is how relationships work. People are reliable, worthy of care, and all that. But on the other hand, conversely, if you have insensitive interactions, they lead to a development of an insecure attachment. So for the anxious, usually they received some care and some sensitivity, but it was inconsistent. Either the person that was giving it would leave, or one parent was sensitive and the other parent was maybe avoidant, and that's the anxious usually came out of that environment. Then the ones who are avoidant, mostly the parents were not available emotionally. They may have been even helicopter parents, very, very present physically, but they were maybe giving toys and giving money and giving whatever, go to school, our typical Ugandan parent. They They would think, food, are you eating? Are you, are you clothed? Are you fed? Do you sleep? What more did you want? And that insensitivity usually is where the aloof people come from. And then, that dismissive avoidance. Then the fearful avoidance usually comes from a family or a parenting style where there's a lot of volatility. Maybe there's alcoholism, domestic violence, the parents are angry, abusive, either verbally or physically. That's usually what brings up the fearful avoidance style. I'm not going to get into some of these slides, but the big thing is, what can we do now? The good news is, and if there's only one thing you take away from this evening, is that you can reprogram your style, you can rewire, you can change your attachment style, and you can become more secure. Secure people, they tend to have longer lasting relationships, more stability, they enjoy other people more, they enjoy love. Love is a good thing, and they get the juice out of connecting with other people. So I think that all of us want to be like that. And again, I was asking myself, if I was to share with Deliverance Church one thing, how can they reprogram? I would summarize it in one word: reparenting. That if you can go back and be that sensitive parent to yourself, if you can stop dismissing yourself, and from this day onwards, you listen to your emotions and you be present for yourself. Like, what's going on? I'm feeling anxious, I'll ask myself, so Pendo, darling, what's going on? Why are you suddenly feeling anxious? Oh, I can't hear anybody speaking to me. I feel as if I'm speaking to the computer, and I feel abandoned, as if I'm here by myself. What are people thinking? Okay. And then I take that information and I start to encourage myself. It's okay, darling, they're there. They've participated well from the beginning. I'm sure if you stop and ask questions, they're going to respond. I mean, they came back after, a failed evening. So you're doing well, and maybe I give myself a nice squeeze, a nice hug, and shake it off and move. I have been attentive to my own self. I was self-aware. I stopped to recognize, how am I feeling, to check in with myself. So stopping regularly helps. And the way I talk to myself, many of us have a negative self-talk. We'll say, you're trash, how could you have forgotten? How did you fail to move those slides when you were talking to the Deliverance Church, And I'm beating myself up. That is a negative self-talk. But a general, and to become the sensitive mother that you never had, you change your self-talk. You speak the word and say, a good parent would say, it's okay. You did great. You tried. You did your best. That's all anybody could ask you for. Your heart was in a good place. So you have that conversation. We are constantly having a conversation, whether we are aware of it or not. Can that conversation become positive? Lastly, I'm going to just go to self-soothing. So self-soothing is about regulating your emotions, especially the negative emotions. I think our parents didn't have a lot of problems being with us when we had positive emotions, when we were happy, but it's mostly when we are sad, when we are angry, that they may miss us. For some of us, even when we are happy, if we are too happy and bubbly and, some parents cannot deal with our energy and they shush us and push us away. But many times, just regulating negative emotions is something that is missed in childhood, and many of us grow into adulthood, and we honestly do not know how to soothe ourselves, how to comfort ourselves, how to bring ourselves back into positive emotions. So if you spend your life pushing down emotions, chances are you've come into adulthood and you're missing this skill. And this is the one biggest skill that is needed. I'll tell you that there are easy ways to soothe yourself. For example, we like to use a very simple tool is the butterfly hug. I had Liz telling you the last time to just do a butterfly hug. So I think this group knows. Can I say that that's correct, Rebecca, that this group has been taught the butterfly hug?
No, let's pretend that we don't know.
Oh, let's pretend like we don't. Okay,
So, yeah.
look at me. I've put my video on. Can you all see me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
I can.
So just put
Yes, we can.
your hands. Okay, just put your hands on your chest and you start to tap left, right, left, right, left, right, and just continue like that. That is called the butterfly. It's mostly a stabilization. We are stimulating both sides of our brain. It's called a bilateral stimulation, and it is thought to balance our ability to choose difficult emotions. It's like maybe it's separated and then you start shaking. This shaking is going to make the passion fruit balance out. So even as when we have difficult emotions, sometimes they get clogged in a part of our body. But once you keep hitting both sides, you help the body to actually process and balance out that emotion, that physiological response that you're having to that emotion. It's very similar to a child stubbing their toe and you pick them up and you put their belly on your chest and you start tapping their back or caressing their back. So as an adult, this is something you can learn to do for yourself. And let's say you're in a meeting and they're grilling you and you start to feel pent up, you can just tap on your thighs, left, right, left, right. I hope you're all trying, even as I continue speaking.
Some people were feeling like it's garlic. We have some
is what?
Who feel like it's too girly, like it's for girls.
Ah, okay. Thanks for sharing that. For guys, we tend to use a gorilla. So we use the fists, and just like a gorilla hits themselves, for men, sometimes that's what we say, just use your fists and do that, because you may need a little bit more of a thump to get the emotions to walk through your body. But also remember, in our society, guys have been taught to repress emotions, maybe more than the girls. And so they're just lodged in the body. And sometimes I say, don't just do the chest, but do other parts of your body. You can even tap your shoulders, tap the back of your head, and wherever you feel the disturbance, just tap it out. And it's a way to healthfully self-soothe. The other thing we do is to use visualization. So safe place is basically a visualization where you allow your mind to take you to a beautiful place, for example, a beach. You're by the water, there's a sunset, it's breezy, still maybe there's some music playing in the background. And as imagination, usually you'll feel to relax, even your neck muscles. Even now as I do it, I start to feel a relaxation take place. And we're not even aware that we're imagining the worst. So we're saying, I'm saying, use your imagination. Imagine peaceful places, beautiful places. Think of yourself maybe at Namembe Cathedral. Many of us use the technique actually without calling it safe place. That was breath work. So with breath work, I say just breathe in, slow down your breath. Breathe in, take a deep breath in, and then hold the breath for a few seconds, and then breathe out slowly, blowing a candle. So I'm just going to do that now. Just observe me. You won't believe my out breath is many, many, many seconds long. The more you practice this, the more you learn to switch off anxiety, you switch off rumination, it switches off depression, it will be an automatic response. So once you turn it into a manual thing and you're controlling things like worry and anxiety and all that, and then you have you need to do it over and over again. And after a while, you start to, I've already shared these slides with your leaders, and I want to stop here and invite questions. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate, and you're participating actively.
Thank you so much, Pendo.
Yes, Rebecca. Yes, Rebecca Subi.
I am seeing Wanambwa Joshua's hand up. Joshua, do you have a question? Kindly unmute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Pendo, Galukande, and all the participants on this forum. I think I have, in my own opinion, been the biggest benefactor of this discussion. Now, straight to the question. Your advice is for colleagues here to become what? To find ways of course, we have appreciated the 3 attachment styles or modes: the secure, those who are extremely anxious, then those who are dismissive. So I just evaluated that I am, I think, I think, but from what we studied today, in the dismissive type. And you have given us steps on how to change, and which I agree with you. My only question now is, worry, if we become like the secure, challenge with the secure people which I observe is now, what happens if you're in a relationship with a person and considering this is pre-marriage in particular. So we have narrowed down the topic is pre-marriage. Pre-marriage basically people who are yet to marry. So if you are, I've spotted I'm in a relationship with a girl called X, and no, let me not use X. Let me use S. With S, and I'm a secure type. Then from nowhere, I am very serious, and she makes an announcement which is in negative, contrary to my plan and a vision I have shared with her, which she had earlier accepted. What happens? Don't you think that if you are a secure type, you're going to become hurt emotionally, and they're basically hurt emotionally, and find yourself destabilized mentally? Thank you.
Thank you for asking me. Josh, are you saying that there's a risk in becoming secure, that there's an advantage in being avoidant because your heart is not so open to pain.
Yes, exactly. That is my view, and which I want you to educate me. It's just a fear which I have, and in fact, it is the very what can I say? Very foundation of examining myself and confirming that I'm in dismissive, because I am that kind of person, of this trait, kind of that person. It's I of course, as a person, by this age, I've seen what happens. You be secure, you express yourself freely and the more confident person. And for example, I'm a boy, I'm a man, so any girl wants a secure person. They want you to give them attention. They want you to invest your emotions, because naturally most of women are emotional beings. So the language that best suits a connection between a woman and a man is that involving emotions. So if you're not careful, from the order you gave us, the dismissive were number 3, the anxious were number 2. The anxious type always want a lot of emotional connection. These are the people who want you to be around them. Every problem you have to listen to their each and every problem, like someone's your girlfriend, not your wife. So, and yet the best I find, in my opinion, they almost want you to play husband duty, because I believe if you're husband, you're secure, so you must listen to your woman. But now we are pre-marrieds here. So how, what basically should I do?
Thank you for sharing. Thank you. And thank you for, yes, this is real, honest. I feel like you're allowing the information to challenge where you stand, and you're being very honest with it. That is true, that when you move from being avoidant to being secure, I'm also asking you to be vulnerable, to feel. But it's a process. It's a process that as you comfort yourself on a regular basis, you've become a very good parent. You actually stop seeing the world as a dangerous place. So right now you're seeing intimacy as dangerous, as a threat. But you get, as you comfort yourself and reparent yourself, every day you're working with yourself and you're gentle and you are attentive and you have the maternal sensitivity, you will get to a place where you believe people are trustworthy, and B, you will know that whatever happens to me, I'm going to be able to recover. It is not, these emotions are not going to overwhelm me. So your whole mindset will shift around emotions. It's just like when you've never driven a car, you look at people who drive and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know how they drive in Kampala. But when you learn to drive, it ceases to be a thing that is so risky. Just jump in the car and drive. It's not a problem. So if you continue looking after yourself, yes, you will be hurt sometimes, maybe, but the truth is you also get the juice out of love. I don't think that you can get the full juice out of love when you've hidden your heart behind a wall, so to speak. So that's my short answer. I see we're almost out of time. Liz, let me grab your question.
Yeah, so my question has been partly answered in what can we do. On the list that you have shared, most of the things that we need to do to be better seem to be individual, and one of them was hang with people that love well. But I'll bring back the bad boy example because I think it brings it out well. So imagine someone who is secure and you're having to deal with someone who is dismissive, avoidant, and yes, you need to hang around people that love better, but you love this particular person, but they always get to you. So how can you get them to see the light without them feeling like you're judging them, without them feeling like, yeah, you mean I have a problem, so I should see a psychologist. So from your point of view, which words, how should we make them see the light and get the help? Otherwise it sort of seems like, when this one is not okay, we leave them to figure out themselves, and get out. I don't know, seems like a red flag or something. Like, how should we do it? Because some of these things to do, I feel like they come easy when the individual is aware and you want to work best, but now when you want to show somebody else the light, it somehow seems difficult.
For sure, psychoeducation is a good but many people, even when they're psychoeducated, they would at different times. So somebody asked in the group, about how does attachment style deal with the people you're attracted to? And I'd like to choose the way I've seen it and the way a number of insecure, you're going to attract another insecure person. Somehow you're going to be repulsed by secure people. And today I was actually thinking, the way I'm starting to see the pattern is that when we have parents who are emotionally unavailable, that is the pattern. Our mind, our internal working model, our blueprint, our map for relationships in the mind is we read that as love somewhere in your subconscious mind. And it's amazing that we can read, faces have little muscles, and you just look at a face and you feel drawn to it. Kumbe, that you're being drawn to the aloof, maybe emotionally unavailable people. So people who tend to have emotionally unavailable spouse, especially if they haven't done it, attracted to parents who tend to attract people who are overly intrusive, and do your own attachment work so that you are attracting the right kind, so that you don't see someone who's aloof and you're like, oh, so madly in love, and kumbe, you're just attracted to that aloofness. The aloofness is calling your name, or the volatility is somehow calling your name. You'll find it attractive. You'll find bad boys or bad girls attractive. But now to come back to your question, Liz, I've struggled with that. I've written my story in a book, Demystifying the Drama of Marriage. Sorry, I should have a copy here. I don't have it right this second, but I can. Let me just grab it right here. So demystifying the drama of marriage, and I share how much I wanted for, I'm more of I thought I was anxious preoccupied, but with time I started to realize fearful. I started to go through those ups and downs. And my husband, pure dismissive avoidant. And we go to this place, when the tinted rose glasses just wore off and the honeymoon was over, we started to really have this dynamic of fighting, to the point that I thought the marriage wasn't going to survive. And when I learned about these styles, I'm just like, oh my goodness, you have to go and get therapy and do this. And he just wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. So I went to therapy. But the more I did my work, the more our relationship changed and the more he changed. And he became more and more open to now. Yes, we've done some therapy together, and he will come to these of meetings. Peaceful is the one you preach with your life, with your actions. You know, I think it's in the Bible that, you know, win them over, like the wife is to win them over. And this is also for the men. Win them over with your actions. Something happens when you are secure and you start to show up in a secure way in the relationship. It changes the energy, it changes the vibe. I really believe that it is spiritual. So the best way, Liz, to change another person is to be the most secure that you can be. That is the best way to change your person, the person you're relating to. And hey, if you're not married and it's not working for you, you have the freedom to go your separate ways. If you're married and you're trying to keep a relationship together, I would say the best thing you can do for your family, for your children, is to do your own work. Whenever you look at them, go deeper until you're 100% secure. All right, people, we are 5 minutes over the time. I want to thank you so much. You've been very, very engaging, and I appreciate your patience with me and coming back to today. So over to you, Paul and Rita.
Thank you so much, Pendo. This was very nice and also eye-opening. And yeah, because sometimes you feel like those people had a problem, but this a person had been reflecting and I realized maybe I also needed therapy. Though I recommended therapy to other people, I also needed therapy. Yeah, so this has been good, and I hope we will be better at our relationships. Yeah, and we'll be better at working to get towards being secure and also working towards being better people. I really loved the part of reparenting and also how you can get better. Really, those positive words come in handy for you telling yourself that you really gave it your best, because sometimes you're really giving it your best and it doesn't work out, and then you're back to zero emotions and all the negative talk. So it's really been very, very beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for allowing God to use you. Yes, Cora said we needed a series. Cora, yes. Thank you so much. So before I call in someone to give us a closing prayer, I would like to announce that we are having a pre-marriage lock-in. It will be happening on the 8th of June. So 9th is a public holiday, so we'll be having the 8th into the 9th. So please plan to be there. It will only be 20,000. It will be at the Luguza's residence, and there'll be so much fun, dancing, singing, food. Yeah, come ready to have a blast, and it will only be 20,000, only 20,000. So as you're planning whatever you're planning, please plan to be there for the lock-in. We'll have good conversations and everything. Just plan to have fun. Yes, I'm going to invite, I don't know if Moses, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Yes. Do you mind closing the session for us and giving us a closing prayer?
All right, it's okay. Thank you very much, Pendo, for this session. It's really good when God uses someone in their field to teach others. I remember in some of the sessions that we've had when we've been talking about identity, one of the things that came out is God, our identity is there for God to use us. It's not just for us to know about ourselves, but for God to work through us using the identity that He has given us. Yes, so thank you very much. And we hope that we will be having you again for some more sessions. When we invite you, that you'll be open to taking on our invitations. All right, we're going to pray and close. And also thank you to everybody who has been able to come on for these sessions, for the 2 sessions that we had last week, part 1, and for this one. And we do have them recorded, and on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, which is Pre-Marriage Mentorship Series. So you can find all these recordings there in case you missed any or would want to go through another one again. All right.
Mother,
Yes, Becky.
somebody is asking about the lock-in. I think they need what that is about. I think, is it Jonathan? Joshua is asking about, I guess, what lock-in is. If you could shed some more light before you.
Okay. I think, all right. The lock-in is literally a meeting. We get to meet as pre-marrieds, and we spend the night. Yes, we spend the night and get to talk, get to share more like all these things that we've been doing in mentorship, and the pre-marrieds share group also, and different things. So we get to meet and spend the night together at one place, at one home, and that is going to be at the Luguza's place. We have transport for the people who will be attending. It will be from Deliverance Church, Makere Hill, and also back to Deliverance Church. So generally, the lock-in is a time to meet, catch up, hang out through the night. There are games, there's times to talk, have different sessions. There's very good food. And yes, it's a very good night for those who want to be there. There's also a pool for those who want to swim. It's lit, so you can swim at night also. Yes, so that's generally what the lock-in is. It can be part of therapy also. Yeah, I believe it can be part of therapy. So hopefully we'll have everybody there. Everybody. Yeah. All right. I hope that answers the question. We'll pray and we will close. Lord, we thank you for this evening, and we thank you for the time that you've given us to meet and share about ourselves and about you. And Lord, we thank you for Pendo, who you've used to bring this enlightenment to us, where people get to know about a little more about themselves, a lot more about themselves. And we pray that we'll be able to use this information to your glory, that we may be able to know how we interact with others and bring others also into your kingdom, and that all this may be used to build your kingdom. We pray for this night, that you'll bless us and keep us safe. Lord, we also pray for Pendo, who has shared with us. We pray, Lord, that you may bless her, you may bless her family, that you may keep increasing the wisdom that she has as she keeps giving to others also. And Lord, we commit everyone else, and we pray that you may give us rest and help us to wake up strong, ready for the day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Right. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Paul, for hosting us. And Paul will also host us for the lock-in.